I used to be more fun. I was younger then. I had so much promise ahead of me. My body was young. I felt good like all of the time. I could stay out late and bounce back the next day, no problem. I didn't have kids yet. I didn't have a mortgage then. I didn't have debt. I was once a kid myself. I lived on a cul-de-sac, and everyone, this gang of 10 of us, walked to school in a giant pack of whirling dervishes with no parents around, trading now and laters and singing good morning to the crossing guard who was unionized and who was paid a living wage. Once upon a time, we took our reproductive freedom for granted. The future was hopeful. Live music was so much cheaper. Social media didn't exist. No documentation, no morning shame. Well, very little next morning shame. Our phones used to be instruments of fun. Remember that? Used to make phone calls. Often used to make plans to meet up in real life, which had no acronym, because how else would you meet up if not in real life? Do you know what is a true fun killer? A global pandemic is a killer of fun. I mean, that was the moment when fun transformed from slightly rebellious to potentially lethal. I mean, not cliff diving fun, just going to a comedy club fun. That was how I contracted COVID. From the riskiest activity of them all, laughing in a room full of people. That'll do a number on you. But there we were in 2020. Do you remember that? Suffering from the comorbidities of loneliness, anxiety, fear, and hopelessness. Scrolling. And the scrolling was kind of working. I mean, it was giving our brains these little hits of dopamine. Every time we earned a like, we might feel a little less alone. Well, that is, until we looked around and found ourselves in an empty room, or worse, lying next to someone who was also scrolling. Annie Dillard writes, "How we spend our days is how we spend our lives." And some of us today are spending upwards of 4 hours a day or more on our phones, and that's not even counting the other screens. I mean, what happens when we are constantly checking our phones for those dopamine hits, all those little alerts? Well, what happens is a million terrible things. The way we interact with our devices fragments our attention. As we flit back and forth between real life and our screens, back and forth, this results in what some experts refer to as time confetti. It's a term Bridget Schultz coined that refers to all the seconds and minutes lost to unproductive and unsatisfying multitasking. I mean, I don't know if you can even find ADHD medication anymore because so many people are on it now. I mean, it is a serious issue. Now, rather than rejuvenating us, time confetti exhausts our brains and makes us also feel unavailable, like we are busy doing something, because it is taxing our working memories, and it is also making us feel drained. Our working memory is a form of memory that allows a person to hold a limited amount of information at the ready for immediate mental use. When we stare at screens much of our day, we end up so fried that even though we know we'd feel much better if we met up with a friend or went to the gym, well, we don't have the energy to do anything but sink into the couch and reach for the remote control or our phone. And as a result, well, we are now spending our leisure time on screens. Like fun is watching TikTok. And while that might feel relaxing, while that might feel soothing or educational or numbing, it does not make us feel more alive. It scatters our attention spans into time confetti, thus deadening our senses and our energy. And I don't mean to be too intense about it, but it is really keeping us from living, from feeling alive. I mean, it is deadening. Instead, many of the leisure activities we often do on our screens fall into the category of fake fun, usually in the form of self-medication or entertainment or consumerism or distracting that, while satisfying in small doses, ultimately leaves us feeling more anxious and more alone. Write a sermon about fun, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Turns out, writing sermons about fun is kind of stressful. Okay, so what is the antidote to the self-medicating, distracting, entertaining abyss that we have all understandably fallen into? I mean, so much grace for us and me and you. It's understandable. Well, there's always the goal of screen-life balance. You've heard of work-life balance. There's also screen-life balance. So this could mean any number of things for you. You could give yourself a digital Sabbath. Many Jewish people do this from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. No phones, no screens, no technology. Each week, one day. You could also keep your phone far away from your bedroom. That's another thing that will improve your life just immediately. Like, do it tonight, and tomorrow your life will already be better. You could limit your engagement in some of the online groups or things that draw your attention and result in the exhaustion of time confetti. But even if you do that, I'm sorry to be talking about unfun confetti, because confetti is usually fun, but time confetti is not. But even if you do that, the truth is there's something more out there. Let's call it not fake fun, but true fun. The writer Catherine Price has a formula for what she calls true fun. This is her term. True fun must encompass three crucial elements: playfulness, flow, and connection. Now, the foundational issue we face when it comes to making true fun a priority is that many of us have been conditioned to believe that the pursuit of fun, especially our own fun, is frivolous, is selfish or indulgent, even immature and childish. We think that if we're focused on fun, and honestly, we often don't even think about it at all, but if we're focused on fun, we're not paying enough attention to the world's problems, to the things that really matter. We're not helping people. And as for our own self-improvement, we tend to focus our efforts on seeking loftier and more serious goals, such as achieving happiness, wealth, long-term health, a sense of meaning and purpose in our lives, and these are all good things. And when you add the time that's required to fulfill the obligations of adult life, going to work, doing your taxes, cleaning the house, raising kids, it's understandable that fun would end up an afterthought. But what we don't realize is that far from being frivolous or selfish, the pursuit of fun will help us achieve all of these goals. As Sonia pointed out, having fun gives us more energy for the work we do need to do. And if we want our lives to be satisfying and joyful, then true fun cannot be an afterthought. In fact, true fun can become your guiding star. Because each day is a gift anyway. And if you do believe in a creator God, if you do believe you are wonderfully and fearfully made, then you may understand you have a contract with the divine, that you were not made to work incessantly, to be productive to the capitalist system. No matter what your belief, that is not the purpose of your life's journey. This life you have must be lived. This is the day we have been given. We must rejoice and be glad in it. And I have said it before, but biblical historians believe that the very first book of the Bible that was ever written down was not Genesis. No, it was the Song of Solomon, based on the Egyptian love songs of that era. And so historically, we know that the word began with an exploration of pleasure and passion in the Song of Songs, a devotion to human connection, to playfulness, to flow. And the first time I ever read the Bible in seminary, we began with Song of Solomon. True fun, it's like magic. It cannot be forced. I mean, we've had like a little bit of enforced fun today. But that magic, sometimes called collective effervescence, is what happens when joie de vivre spreads through a group. That term, coined by sociologist Emile Durkheim, is the synchronicity that you feel when you slide into rhythm with strangers on a dance floor, when you're in the middle of a thrilling brainstorm with colleagues, or a choir rehearsal, or teammates on a soccer field. It's that thing that just makes you feel sparkly, like sunshine. Playfulness. Okay, playfulness is something I talk about a lot around here. And even before serving as a minister, before that call, when I was working with actors on a production, or when I'm in a UUCA board meeting or a worship planning meeting, we talk about play, we talk about being game. Now, being game means arriving to a task with an open heart, taking a courageous and playful approach to a task. And much of serious acting training lies in the exercises, which are really just games. Because after a long time of doing these games, the actors will begin to refrain from self-observation. They will no longer be thinking if they look silly or ridiculous. They will finally be getting outside of themselves, no longer caring if they sound silly because it's all part of the fun. And it's something I strive for even as my life becomes ever more serious, with kids' academics, with financial issues, with threats to our civil liberties and our rights here in Georgia. I mean, to continue to enter every encounter with a sense of being game. It is freedom from self-observation. A playful, open-hearted, curious freedom. And it can take weeks and weeks for actors in a company to gel and coalesce into a true cast. But if they are game on that very first rehearsal, well, the time is cut in half. Suddenly, they will try anything at all to serve their character's motivation. This process leads to what every director is truly seeking: discovery. And so what gets you there? What keeps you open-hearted and playful? Maybe it's a team sport. Maybe it's a 30-second dance party. Maybe it's a night on the town or a game night at home with friends. The second feature of true fun is flow. Flow is the psychological term for being fully engrossed and engaged in your present moment, so much so that you lose track of time. You know that adage, time flies when you're having fun? Well, that is flow. Incorporating playfulness into flow makes the case against mastery, by the way, something Don brought up earlier in this hour. One way to access playfulness and flow is to take up an instrument or an art form that you have never tried before. To join suddenly a group banjo class or a dance class. Maybe it's pottery is the thing for you, but whatever it is, immerse yourself in the present without self-observation, just the task itself. Release the need to be masterful or even good, and find your flow within the present moment of being in this task. When you have found flow, it can be exhilarating. And finally, the third feature of true fun. Now this one is a little bit up for debate. It's connection. So according to this writer, true fun must be found with other people. Now, my spouse was debating this with me because he finds a lot of fun by himself. The problem is that debating is not true fun, so we're just going to go with this and stay open to the possibility that true fun can happen by yourself too. But this writer asserts that true fun must be found with other people. Now, perhaps like me, You struggle mightily with FOMO, fear of missing out. Is anybody else? Just me? Okay, some of the extroverts are like comfortable raising their hands. Fear of missing out. It is a known fact again amongst my friends that my greatest fear in life is not receiving an invitation. Now, I chalk it up to my birth order, but I am highly susceptible, and this is my personal device, demons. The greatest trap of social media, you see, is that it gives the illusion that everyone else is having more fun out there. But we don't know if that's true. We just know that at some point, someone took a snapshot and the group was told to smile. But the problem with the scrolling is that observing other people having fun is not true fun. And as a mother of young kids, this was a helpful distinction for me. Because much of parenting, let's be honest, is watching your kids have fun or curating their fun for them. Now, watching your kids have fun is enjoyable, but it is not true fun. And after a weekend of curating and observing my kids having fun, I often feel depleted myself heading into Monday. Amen? Anyone else? True fun is cultivated when you are with people in real life. This is why I'm so pro-church. I mean, this is one of the reasons. It's analog. We're just all here. Now, this may be a big group or a small group. It may be an intimate experience or an event with strangers. It could be anonymous or it could be in community. There is really not one type of connection. Playfulness requires context that contribute to your ability to feel playful. So when, I ask you, was the last time you experienced silliness, creativity, imagination, absurdity, spontaneity, freedom from self-observation? And the element of flow can also be found in various contexts, in nature, in physical activity, in music, in art, in risk, thrill-seeking, performance, learning, sensuality, yes, in novelty. Rebelling, a little bit of healthy rebelling against habit and routine can be a harbinger of fun. And this, I think, is the special joy of summer, when whole societies prioritize play. If you've ever spent August in Europe, you've noticed how entire cities will clear out for a national experience of holiday in August, where they're out exploring, traveling, playing, and resting. If you've ever spent time in Latin American countries, you've seen the siesta, that mid-afternoon rest period breaking up the workday. And then there's the lingering evening meal, and then the assumption that every weekend you'll be going out dancing. It is our culture that prioritizes work and productivity above all else. And now we've lost a couple of years to a pandemic, and so we know the gravity of creating space for levity. So, this is your invitation to summer. Welcome to summer. Summer is for fun. So this week, open your calendar, create some loose plans for playfulness, connection, and flow. Whatever that is. Join a pickup soccer game. Start taking weaving classes. I think Paula Keinert did this recently. This is the perfect time to learn the banjo with a group of people who have never played the banjo. I'll never forget the very first memorial service I ever helped officiate at UUCA. I say helped because it was really Gerald Robeson who was officiating. It was for Vaughn Crawley, who was a member of, I will get this wrong, I'm sure, the Hash House Harriers, the Atlanta Hash House Harriers. I have looked this up a number of times, and I still don't understand it. It is some kind of late-night jogging and drinking club that perhaps originated in Malaysia, but as happens in communities all over the world. But Mary's house, your house, was full of jovial joggers who were wearing silly hats and who only answered to ridiculous names like Limp Bizkit and Gravy or something. And they were all in great physical shape, though they raised their glasses a large number of times. And I remember thinking, yes, this is good. Vaughn lived a fun life with these fun people. Now, Vaughn had many sides to him, and one of them involved drinking a beer, donning a headlamp and glittery headgear perhaps, and jogging along a trail of chalk through an urban landscape in the middle of the night with a group of hooligans who laughed and chatted, who encouraged each other, and who celebrated at the end. That it was so clearly a great life. And we rejoiced that Vaughn Crawley had found true fun. And this, by the way, is also one of the great gifts of pride. Pride insists that though the systems of oppression conspire to try to keep queer people lonely, afraid, and marginalized, there will be parades instead. There will be public displays of affection. There will be tea parties and dancing in the streets and rainbows, that symbol of covenant grounded in life, liveliness. An entire month reserved. And in Atlanta, actually, we get 2 months because we also get October, I feel. A month reserved for true fun is just one of the gifts given to all of us by the LGBTQ community. Because this is the time to be the glitter you wish to see in the world. And this is a holy imperative, because the work will never be easy, my friends, so it might as well be fun. So seek out playfulness, seek flow, and seek connection. May you take fun seriously. And may you find true fun. May you harness it, gather it, and may it keep you.
You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. Gotta do when the Spirit says. Please rise in body or in spirit. Got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says got to sing, oh Lord. Got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to play when the Spirit says play. You got to play when the Spirit says play. When the Spirit says play, you got to play, oh Lord. Got to play when the Spirit says got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you got to dance, oh Lord. Got to dance when the Spirit says dance.
May you follow the path to a sparkly life. May you have a sparkling summer. May you seek moments of sweet freedom found in flow, in play, and in connection. Because the work of our lives is not going to be easy. And so we're going to need to make it fun. So go in joy, go in peace, go and have fun out there.
You got to do when the Spirit says.